Hey, Trailblazers. In this episode, we're talking about how to unleash the power of video marketing so that you can create great content and show up like a polished professional with Rhea Allen. So stick around.
If you want to build a legitimate, profitable online business without shiny objects, without the hypey gimmicks, and without the stress and overwhelm, if you want to make more money without having to be present online all day, every day, pumping out content that nobody sees and hustling DMs to generate leads and sales, then this is the place for you. Welcome to the Digital Trailblazer Podcast, your online business university, where you'll learn how ordinary people start from ground zero with no influence, no email list or audience to sell to, and no business or marketing experience, and go from working 9-to-5 jobs to building successful 6- and 7-figure online businesses and all the steps in between. Learn the strategies that worked and what didn't. Learn the mistakes that they made and how to avoid them, and then learn their plans for scaling their businesses and taking things to the next level. All so that you can build your business faster and easier and make more money without sacrificing the things that are important to you in your life. I'm your host, Leah Ray Getz, and with me is my husband, Todd. Now let's get to it with today's guest.
Welcome, Ray. We're excited to have you and talk video marketing and video production and all things video, because this is such an important topic for people who are looking to build online businesses. I think maybe 5-10 years ago, you could avoid video. You cannot avoid video any longer. If you want to have an online business that's successful, you got to turn on that camera, and it's a big hurdle for a lot of people. So I think this is a great conversation to have. So let's dive in a little bit. Why don't you give a little bit of context for the audience before we get into the nuts and bolts so that they kind of know who you are and where all this is coming from?
Absolutely. So I am the co-founder of Peppershock Media, and my husband and business partner and I started this company almost 22 years ago. And we have definitely seen the evolution of things digital that have come our way back when we used to call it new media. And now we definitely see the need for video more and more, whether we're producing it or you're doing it on your own. Video marketing is essential to continuing to compete and be, standing out in your field and those types of things. And we know that the average time that people spend on a website, if it's just words on text on a screen, is about 15 seconds. Whereas if you have video on your website, the idea is to keep them on your site longer. It helps with search engine optimization, all those types of things. The average is at least 1 minute or more if you have video. So the importance of video is absolutely here in every platform, not just for your website, but social media and all the places that you can possibly repurpose your video content.
Yes, absolutely. So obviously, video marketing, video showing up in video is very powerful. I think a lot of people worry about starting to turn on that camera, and they want to make sure that they look like a professional. Like if they're running a business, they want to attract clients. They want to show up like someone worthy of attracting clients and not kind of making a fool out of themselves on video. So how do we actually set this up so that they have, they actually are creating great content, great video quality and everything else?
Well, I always think of how you can use Stephen Covey's famous line, start with the end in mind. What is the purpose? What do you want people to do because they've watched this video? How do you want them to feel? What story are you trying to tell or educate or edutainment if you're trying to educate and entertain? What's the purpose? Why do you want this video to be out there? And what is it that you want them to do because of it? Is there a call to action? Are you building awareness? What is it that you're doing? Now, if you think of the goals that you have and who the audience is going to be, then that also can now backtrack into how you're going to shoot this video. Is it a reel? Are you going to shoot where you're going to have the video in your camera if you're just using your cell phone, for example? Is it going to be vertical or horizontal? What kind of screen are you going to show this on? And where is it going to be seen the most? And sometimes you can repurpose it and have it in multiple different platforms and have it rendered out in multiple different ways so that you can repurpose the same content in different ways. And so then thinking about, okay, if we're going to have it as an Instagram reel, we're going to have it on our website, we're going to have it on our Facebook page, maybe we even want a video on Pinterest. All of those have different aspect ratios. So we are going to think about how we're going to shoot it in a way that can be repurposed for each of those platforms. And by the way, some videos work better and different types of videos work better in different platforms. So thinking about with the end in mind, if you're going to repurpose it, maybe you could shoot something that's specific to Pinterest, that's specific to, if you're going to do TikTok videos, for example, what are those going to be and how are they going to look? And now thinking about, okay, we know our audience, we know the platform that we're going to use. How are we going to make this content where people will want to engage with it and absorb it and read it and continue to see it. And I say read it because oftentimes people will not necessarily listen to the video, we'll make videos audio agnostic, meaning that we don't have to have the audio turned up in order for people to understand what's going on in the video. And you can do that in a number of different ways to tell the story. But often we want to have subtitles on the videos, especially if people are, consuming content, laying down in bed, their partner's asleep. They don't want to have the volume up. So how can people consume your videos in a way that's going to be where they're at, meet them where they're at, right? And so those are some things to consider as you produce the video and what you're going to do. The other things to consider is, okay, how long are the videos going to be? In different platforms have different criteria of how long the videos can be. Like your reels can be 60 seconds or more, whereas if you want to do like a video pre-roll, it can only be 15 seconds. So all of those things to consider as you are about to produce the videos that you're going to do.
So I know for our audience, we've got a lot of coaches, course creators, people who are kind of in the education space. They're trying to educate their audience to move them to a sale. A lot of the content that we're creating is, well, like I said, educational. So for something like that, I know what we do. For example, when we create a video, we create one video and we repurpose it on multiple platforms. But that original video is typically 3 to 5 minutes, maybe up to 8 minutes, something like that on a topic. We have a script or a format for a script that we follow every time. And then once we create that video, we shoot it in a way where we can repurpose it for multiple different platforms. We have one platform in mind. Typically, it might be a podcast or it might be a YouTube channel. That's typically one of the two that we're shooting it for. And then we'll take it, we'll cut it up, we'll repurpose it for shorts and reels and things like that.
Nice and nice.
Yeah. Is that a good way for most people to start? Or are there other ways to do this that might be easier or less time consuming?
So when we create videos, the idea is to have multiple uses for it so that when you're sitting down and creating content, that's a one-time thing that you have to do so that you don't have to redo it for every single platform and do it natively inside of every single platform. When we record, we're going to record that and then have multiple different uses. So you might consider multiple different takes, even though it's very similar content. And we know that, for example, if you're going to post something to LinkedIn, we know that it needs to be more professional and the audience there is there for the resume building, the award, all the things that you do on LinkedIn versus if you're going to do something on TikTok, it's going to be a different way to go about doing it, right? And maybe even how you shoot it's going to be slightly different, but maybe it's a similar message that you're trying to get across on the different platforms. And YouTube, yeah, obviously we can do a lot longer content and repurpose that. And some examples that I can give where we've sliced and diced, as you said, when we get client testimonials, it's wonderful to let them just share and spread the word and talk in their own, vocabulary of how they're going to talk about you. And interviewing them for testimonial, you can use all of that content in multiple ways and have it maybe a series that you can come in release. So there's different things that you can consider for different types of content that you're producing. And I think that when we want to make a plan and do our content strategy and what we're going to say and how we're going to say it, and maybe if there's going to be B-roll or if there's going to be graphics or not, how you're going to display it, where it's going to be displayed. If you can think about the goals of what you're trying to accomplish and the audience that you're wanting to be in front of, understanding each of those audiences helps you dictate somewhat of the content that you're going to put in front of them. And then paying attention over time, what types of content that you're producing and putting out there are getting more traction than maybe others that are not. Research the topics. What are your competitors doing? How are they doing it? And are they getting a lot of traction and engagement? How can you go about doing it? I say we can case that, copy and steal everything, or we can make it better than what they do. And so understanding what's already being done, what maybe the needs are of your audience and how you can support them and giving them, maybe important news or trends or things that are going on in your industry. And then matching those video topics with each stage of your customer's journey and why they want to buy from you, or what it is that you're trying, if like you're maybe a nonprofit or something, what are you trying to educate them on, or what donors are you trying to get, or volunteers are you trying to get? And in your case, being coaches and consultants, what does your audience need most? What kind of answers can you provide to them? Especially now when everything is incorporating AI and voice search optimization, not just regular search engine optimization, but now voice. How can you answer questions when they put in their prompt into Chat GPT or any other generative model? What kind of questions can you answer? And AI will analyze video now more than before. So if you can create videos that are now also going to be AI friendly and Chat GPT friendly, then now you're doing yourself even more than before.
So let's maybe just back up to, if someone's brand new, they don't know a lot about video production. That first part about looking and sounding good. I know even just 3 or 4 years ago, the way that we did our videos back then is very different from how we do them now. For example, I remember having to get a DSLR camera and then a boom mic, and I have all this set up, and then we'd record everything. We'd have it on one of those little flash drive or whatever, the micro.
Right.
Yeah, I have to plug it into the computer, download it all, sync up the audio and the video. I mean, this whole production. And now it's more along the lines of, okay, grab the smartphone, plug in the wireless lav mic, and just do the video. And it's so much easier now. But even aside from that, there's still things about lighting and the background, and see what are some things that we can do that are super simple to help make this process of just shooting the video easier, but still professional.
Yes. Well, I can tell you today, apparently in our studio, we've been having some flybys of air show going on. So definitely picking a quiet place is helpful. Positioning the camera to where it's eye level. So like my camera right now is propped up just a little bit so that it's eye level, thinking about a well-lit location, choosing that quiet place, and then of course having a background and all of the noise and not doing it right up against a window, for example. Or if you are outside, thinking about being away from traffic and thinking about the way that you're going to have the camera angle, if it's going to be horizontal or vertical, like we talked about as far as the aspect ratio, the where the in video is going to be, shooting it where it's 16:9. So like a regular television screen is going to show up differently than if it's a reel, which is vertical versus horizontal. But yeah, thinking about looking at the camera when you are talking and having the camera stay steady. Even if you don't have a tripod or a way to prop up the camera, thinking about how those movements and motion can really be distracting sometimes, unless that's a part of your plan in getting attraction and getting people to look at what you're doing. But standing up and sitting up straight, or where are your hands? What are you doing with your hands? Are you smiling? Are you capturing people's attention because you're humanizing yourself? And it's okay to sometimes mess up or stumble over your words. People will humanize that and relate with you more than just being robotic and canned. I love candid, authentic, real videos more so than just trying to make it perfect. Authenticity goes a long way now. And I think that people believe you, and there's more trust value if you are authentically yourself and keeping it real.
I know as far as the movement and starting out the video and things like that, we've had a lot of other people who do a lot of TikTok or YouTube or things like that. And one of the things they talk about all the time is like pattern interrupts. And so one of the things that we've heard all the time is that, especially when you're starting a video, you want to have something that catches people's attention. And so sometimes that motion right at the beginning of the video can be very beneficial, even if it's something, just really simple things. Like instead of just starting with the video of you sitting there and, a talking head, starting a video where it's a blank screen and then you walk into the scene and sit down, or, even just having the finger up here, like you're pushing a play button to start the video, something like that is enough just to kind of catch people's attention just long enough for them to stop the scroll for a little bit and then start paying attention.
If you have that as a part of your strategy, and that's what you want to do to capture attention, absolutely. I'm talking about when people are trying to hold the camera and it's like amateur hour,
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing. We've seen it also on the other end, where if you look too polished and too professional and too just buttoned up, people more skeptical of that. versus if you look more natural and more impromptu, people trust that more because it is, like you said, it's more authentic.
Absolutely. And I think that when we do have our true selves behind the camera and we aren't just trying to make it completely scripted and polished, the sense of trust can really shine through because your personality is there and you have you're more human, right? You're not just a robot, or you're not just trying to read something that was AI generated completely. You are interjecting your personality. And I think that that is builds trust even more, especially when, people might buy from you or want to establish that trust because they want to understand, why should I buy from them? Why should I buy from this person that's sitting in front of this camera from me right now? And if you can build that trust and have that authority and thought authority of who you are and what you know, that's going to go a long way.
I've seen videos, I forget who it is. There's someone out there that's promoting this completely AI generated version of herself that does all her videos. Like, it's not really her, it's an AI version of her.
Twin. Yeah.
Something like that. And she's promoting this thing where it's, hey, I'll teach you how to do all your videos completely AI generated and just like me. Like right now, this video is talking to you, but I'm actually on the beach somewhere doing that. And it's like, okay, yeah, I can see why this may work for you because you're marketing to people who want more time freedom and who want to be able to create videos without having to actually create videos. But if you were a business owner, like if you're a B2C type of business and you're trying to get, for example, if you're a health coach, if you are a real estate coach or something like that, those people don't want to talk to an AI, an AI version
The
of you.
trust isn't there, is it?
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, it's going to work for you because you're selling something different, but it's not going to work for the person who's marketing to an actual customer. Or it's not going to work as well. It never is. It's the same thing. I compare this to webinars. When people were doing live webinars 5-10 years ago, whatever, I mean, they worked really well. You'd have show up rates 30-40%. You'd make a bunch of sales. It was great. And then they started doing these simulated live webinars where it was a pre-recorded thing and you weren't really there, but you were pretending like it was live. You had the simulated chat roll. And for a while that worked because it fooled people. But after people caught on that this wasn't real, we could literally see month by month, year by year, those attendance rates dropping and dropping and dropping. And fewer people were attending. It totally broke trust, even if you were live. If you really did it live, people just assumed that it was this simulated thing that wasn't going to be real. And so it just made webinar marketing so much more difficult. So you can still do it. It can still work, but it's just much harder now because of all the AI stuff. And I feel like it's the same thing with video marketing, is that there's going to be so much of this AI crap out there that people are just phoning it in and it's not authentic. And we're going to have to go that extra mile just to prove that I am a real person. This is not an AI version of Todd, in order to build that authenticity and that trust and rapport.
I do think that there is something to be said about having yourself be on a live video, or, you can do YouTube live. You can do live on pretty much all of the platforms, and select people can do live on LinkedIn as well if you're a content producer there. But it is definitely the authenticity that we were talking about. I think people want to buy from people. They don't want to buy from my AI tool or a chatbot or, anything like that, right? And I mean, I don't know about you, but I get frustrated when I want to talk to actual customer service when I'm calling in to, describe an issue or complaint or concern or need I have. And I'm just stuck through a phone automated tree, or I'm on a chatbot that doesn't give me the answer I truly want, right? And I'm just going in circles. That's frustrating. Nobody wants to do that, right? Nobody wants to be in that situation. So just thinking about having a good mix of actual human contact, and you can still incorporate some of the AI tools to help you in those types of things, but you can't lean on it 100%. I don't feel like it just is going to take away that human aspect. And people want to buy from those that they know, like, and trust. And how can they know and trust an AI bot? I don't know.
Okay, so we got the shooting of the video, and what do we need to do to make sure that we're capturing the video and the audio in a way that we can use it in multiple different ways and it looks good, it sounds good. What about the editing? Because I know for us, there's a lot that we do as far as editing. For example, like we've had people come on talk about people's attention span and how when they create videos, especially for a platform like TikTok, they cut out any silence, any gap in words that's more than, what was it, Leah? Was it like
More than 0.1 seconds.
yeah, anything more than like a tenth of a second of a gap, they cut so that it moves faster, and it's like you're creating something for a fish with ADHD, this super short attention span, and just to keep people engaged. So as far as editing things like that, I know with the editor that I use Adobe Premiere Pro, and I got some plugins that help with some of this stuff, but I know there's a lot of AI tools out there and things like that. Is there, for a normal person who's just getting into creating videos, are there software tools that you recommend they use just getting started with for editing their videos?
So, I mean, we use Adobe as well, and there's different platforms out there. Like, I haven't actually used a whole lot of them because I do have my staff to do what we need to do for editing. But I think I've heard of like Capterra, something like that, or CapCut. I think. Yeah, CapCut. Most computers now, I mean, we're MacBook Pro people, but they all come with some sort of form of just basic editing tools on your computer if you need. And I'm sure that there's different platforms now that you can plug in the footage and it'll cut things together. Another tool that we use for our podcasts and vidcasts is Riverside.fm. And it'll do magic clips for you. Not perfect, but the cool thing is if it has the transcript of everything that's being said and you want to cut out certain phrases or sentences, or you want to truncate it just a bit, you can actually delete the words from the script, from the text that is copied into that, and it'll automatically edit that out for you. So it'll just do a little jump cut from the sentence that you ended with and then the next sentence that you want to start with. And it'll take out whatever words or sentences you want to have. And that's been helpful. And I'll tell you, the tool also, I said a name wrong on a podcast and I had to go through and like re-say it correctly. I felt terrible. But the nice thing is it automatically would do it, re-recorded it correctly, and then it just plugged it in for me automatically. So there are some tools that can be helpful when it comes to using AI. It can really help with that and blend it in and make it seamless. But I think that the main thing is just thinking about that end audience, how it's going to be rendered out and shown. And then if you are doing things to help with the edit when you're getting it displayed and putting it out there, think about how you're going to label the video itself and how it's going to have captions that'll describe what the video is and what, if you do want to have the transcript or not, or if you're going to have subtitles, or if you upload the subtitle file to go with it, depending on what platform you're using. Just because people so much more now are relying on the subtitles more than anything. It's really interesting. They'll read the subtitles more than they'll actually read text on a page, but they can read along with it. So, thinking when you're editing, okay, what are the subtitles? And you want to actually go and edit subtitles too. All of them do not know how to spell my name, for example. And so they'll put Rhea Allen, R-A-Y, instead of R-A-G-A, or just go through and update those subtitles to go with it. And then some other things that help with when you are kind of going through that process of selecting what clips you want to have and how you want to put them together. And a lot of these tools will do it natively. Like you can edit within the TikTok editor or the Instagram editor, and they keep enhancing it more and more as far as what you can do, what music you can put in, what text you want to have. You can even now do fades and cross fades and just different things inside the actual native platforms themselves. There's definitely ways to, if you are trying to do it at a reasonable budget, if you will, then you can do it natively inside the platform and then save that video and then, repurpose it for other things. But other things that you can include when you're putting that video together, think about if there are texts that you want to put on the screen that are some calls to action. If you want to generate a QR code, if somebody's watching it on their laptop. That's the other thing too, is you can serve videos differently on mobile versus if it's a desktop and what they're looking at, and if it's a desktop website versus a mobile app, because oftentimes they're not going to use a QR code if they're on their mobile device already. but they will use it on desktop. So thinking about how the browser is going to serve it up. And if you want to include the QR code or the call to action, or even with YouTube, you can have clickable links now inside the videos as annotations, those types of things. So then you can tell people and direct people to click on the video and click on the link in the video. And then I'll open up a new web page that's driving traffic to a very specific landing page. If you want them to go there to buy something, do something, say something, or any of those types of things. Maybe you want them to sign up for your newsletter, whatever the case might be. Some other things too is like make it easy for people to share that video, encouraging them to share it with others, telling them to share it with others, or have, some arrows to point to where to share it. And then some other things that we encourage our clients to do too is creating playlists that feature the videos that you want them to see next. And so that way, if they're watching a series of videos, then you always have the next one ready to play rather than going to somebody else's playlist, right? Or other videos instead. And then the other thing I was going to say too is just keeping consistent videos ongoing, not just trying to do a one and done thing where it's like, okay, I made my video, I checked off the box, right? You want to have a series. You want to keep them coming back for more. And the other thing that it really does help with is if you continuously have those videos ongoing, it tells all of the search engines and all of the web crawlers of the world that, hey, this is new content. We need to come back and crawl this site again or this page again because it's got new content and it's going to serve up your results more because you've got new content on a regular basis. So some other little tips there.
So as far as once you've got that video edited the way that you want, do you have any tips for easily changing the aspect ratio for different platforms and things like that? Because I know that's always a chore for me. Like I get the video and then it's like, I got to change the aspect ratio, move everything around so it all fits.
I know. I won't lie. It's kind of a pain. It is because every platform's a little bit different of what will fit within the safe titles or safe zones of, and like on Instagram, they always have so much stuff at the top, and then they have the music, and then they have, the attributions of where the things are. And then at the bottom, they've got, different buttons and now even ads that'll pop up. So just thinking about where you're going to place those subtitles. And if we all could just make it universal, wouldn't that be great? But it's not. It is. You do have to take some time to, range it, make it look good. Because you've probably seen videos that have been cut off on the sides or, cut off on the tops or bottoms, or they're getting covered with words or other things that are on the screen. So really just understanding and making a plan about how you're going to arrange things and where it's going to be and how it's going to go and where the titles can be and where the relevant tags are, if you can tag them, and if you're going to have the subtitles or not, and what kind of eye-catching things are you going to do, but making it like toward the middle of the screen, because at least everything in the middle of the screen can be seen. The other thing too is thinking about when you use thumbnails, or if there's like a featured image that's going to be on the video for when people aren't playing it, but it's still showing up and populating. And then like if there's a play button to play it or before it starts to roll, understanding what that image is going to look like when it's static before it plays, or if it ends when it's in play. Thinking about, okay, if you can choose a thumbnail that will go in there, or title screen that'll be there. Sometimes that's helpful too, because then it can entice people to want to click on it to play it. If it's a click to play, if it's set to auto play, every platform does something a little bit different, and every browser, is going to show some things differently too. So I know there's a lot to consider, and you're right. It does take some time to put all that together. Some of the programs like Riverside.fm, it'll do those magic clips and it'll give you each of the different aspect ratios that you can select to download or convert and then to download. So that one's kind of nice, where it'll automatically give you the option on how you want the aspect ratio to be downloaded. And then you just have to remember to name each of those files so that you know which one you're looking for when it goes for each platform. Word to the wise, right? We do that with our clients too when we re-render all of the different videos in the different sizes that they need. Inevitably, if they're not posting the right video for the right platform, then it can get cut off. So just paying attention to your file descriptions and what each one of those are for.
I know that when we're shooting a video, we will typically try to shoot it further away from the camera so that we have more space to work with in editing, so we can zoom in, zoom out, or cut out the size for a vertical video or keep it as a horizontal, right? So we'll have those options and then space for the subtitles at the bottom. So like you said, you need to make sure that you got space around you for all that stuff.
The worst case scenario is you don't necessarily know where the video is going to land. If you at least get yourself in the middle and you have, some space, some headroom, right? More headroom than what always feels natural to those of us who, shot video in the old days. Like you'd want to have it framed up just right. But now it's different framing than it was before because you do want to leave some space for headroom and on the bottom of the screen too. So things aren't getting covered that you really want to make sure that people are seeing and monitoring your performance too on each of those videos and what's getting traction and continuing to do more of what people are engaging with and liking and sharing and doing more with those types of things that your audience wants more of and asking your audience in the videos even, like, what more do you want? What kind of videos would be interesting to you? What would you want to see? And engaging with your audience and getting them to give you communication back.
So I know one of the things, especially when people are first getting started, they probably are wondering, okay, well, I've got a couple of ideas for videos, but after that, I don't know what to create. Or I don't even know what type of video to create. What are the best types of videos for people to get started with? And then how do you keep coming up with new ideas for videos?
Absolutely. So I love to prepare our clients with just a number of different ideas of things that they can do videos with. And I kind of mentioned customer testimonials are so important because it's other people talking and touting about you versus yourself, right? And so customer testimonials, and then depending on if you have a product or service, doing demonstration videos and sharing what it is that the product does, or if it is a service, what kinds of things that you serve and how you go about doing it, the process of how you do what you do and the results that people get because of what you do. You can also do tutorial videos, how to do this, how to do that. People love how-to videos, especially on TikTok now. How-to videos, life hack videos, industry trainings, those types of things are really going wild for people. Thought leadership. So we always want people to understand that we have some thought leadership and knowledge in our area or expertise that we can give. So if you can give people little nuggets of information, not giving away the farm of everything that you do, but showcasing your thought leadership, your work, the expertise that you could provide to them if they were to hire you as a thought leader to help them in their, solve their problem that they have a need for. Another thing you can do is project reviews or case studies. So if you have something to show and tell and share, then doing a project review or a case study to say, here's the work that we did, how we went about doing it, here's the result that we have and why. Those are really helpful because again, you're showcasing the work that you have and the process that you went through in order to get those results that everybody wants, right? You can do live videos that we talked about, live streaming. Those are really helpful because every single platform that you go live on, they want you to live stream. They want you to be there. So they're going to help promote the fact that you're going live. They're going to produce it and they're going to announce it. They're going to promote it. Rhea Allen's going live on Facebook, and then it'll go out there. And then even if people don't see the live video, the replays are like gold because that's when people go back and watch it at their time frame and when they can watch it. And so those replays, we get way more replays than we do even people, eyeballs watching the lives. But the replays are where the magic is happening because then people go back and they can stop and start and continue to watch whenever they choose to do so. And then I love to do event promotion videos. So if you have an upcoming event, maybe, you've got a webinar coming up or a workshop coming up, or we do our word of mouth mixers once a month. So I always do a couple things. I go live on all the different channels to talk about what's coming up. But also after or during the event, we will showcase the event of what happened and tell everybody what they missed out on. So kind of create a little bit of FOMO, if you will, so that they might come to the next event. But even doing previews or event previews, and if you're a coach or consultant or speaker and you're about to go take the stage at this big conference that you want everybody to know about, the fact that you're at that conference sharing your expertise at this big event, I love to do little videos right ahead of a speaking gig because then it's like that excitement and sharing that moment of being on stage, right, is just a fun adrenaline rush for us. So yeah, event videos, promo videos, commercials, streaming. What's really big right now, because we can get so granular on who the message gets in front of, is streaming videos like commercials and OTT, so over the top videos. And so, everyone's watching streaming TV right now, right? Or Netflix and Hulu and Tubi and all those places. We can dial it in very specific of who gets that message in front of them and at what location, what IP address, and they can now get it. It's a find me, follow me thing where they can get it on their phone. They can get it on their big screen in their living room. They can get it on their iPad. They can get it in their car listening to podcasts. Like, there's so many things we can do now with getting distribution out with video marketing that it is very, very effective, because if we want to get messages in front of people who, maybe work for a specific company, or for example, we just did a campaign where a whole bunch of people went to a big, huge Kenny Chesney concert. And so we did a vicinity drop to where now we're going to be able to serve up ads after the fact that have to do with their country music fans. And so we want to promote, there's a supply store here that does feed and all kinds of things for country living people. And so now we're going to serve up ads that will be very specific to those types of people. And so they'll get to see those videos that are just really for them to see. So there's so many things we can do now with all of the advent of all this machine learning and AI and analytics that we can follow. So yeah, event videos and promotions. There's a big conference coming up that you want people to attend or buy tickets to. Videos really can help with that, because again, people will watch a video before they'll read text on a screen. And so if we can do as many videos as we can to get people interested, and of course, quality videos are really helpful to make that happen. So lots of different ways to continuously do video in your strategies that you're putting together.
That's awesome. This has been a great conversation. Video is here to stay. So I hope people took a lot of notes. If people want to learn more about you, where should they head?
So a couple places. Of course, peppershock.com is our website for our ad agency and video production studio and podcast recording studio. And then we've also created the Marketing Expedition community. And of course, I have a podcast there. And we have a downloadable PDF of an ebook that you can download. Just give us your email address and then you can download that. And then you can also subscribe to the marketingexpedition.com community.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. We appreciate it. And all the links will be in the show notes and description.
Excellent. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Digital Trailblazer podcast. For show notes and information about today's guest, head to digitaltrailblazer.com. Now, if you love this episode, if you got some value, make sure you leave us a review and subscribe. And be sure to share this episode with anyone you know who could use help to build their business. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.